What's going on?
What is up?
It's good. We come on, you're already laughing.
Yeah, you see the name.
Dick hurts.
Oh, it's great. Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah, some of these you swear they're either made up or that they're doing it on purpose. One or the other.
100%. 100%. Oh, it's amazing.
How's the week this week so far?
Not bad.
What's with you, Mr. Positivity? Okay, Jared, go.
I'm negative today. So negative. No, the week was great. I went and hung out with the Harbins, our guests, and special guests, Shane from Small Town Exotics today. We got to hang out and move some rat racks. Well, they moved some rat racks, and I just stood there and directed traffic. I was like, yes, that is good. No. Yes. So, I was in my natural element with these guys, and we got to hang out and talk some snakes. I got to see some really cool what are the hog noses? Yes.
Oh man, hog nose people hate you now.
Yeah, I forgot what they were called because they're not ball pythons or jewel lacertus, so I don't care. But
so you were useless though.
100% useless. No, they had some cool stuff, so it was neat. It was cool to hang out with them and kind of see their layout because it's so big. You wouldn't think they would have as much room as they do, but man, it was a massive space for the operation that they run. Like it was really clean. It was really neat. It was cool.
So we're going to give some love to the wonderful people in the room.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Everybody.
It's Chris's week this week. He gets to give some love.
There you go.
There we go, Chris.
All right. Well, we got Mr. Shane himself right there. Popping in. Got Brian and Holly from Sky High popping in like always. Dwight.
The Pie Man.
Dwight. Yep, the Pie Man, Dwight. North Florida Cold-Blooded. Thanks for popping in. Shannon Red Lentz. And Dick Hurts.
Oh, that's great.
Pete Snakes. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for popping in.
Charlie. Always a pleasure. Edge of Panic. What's up? Devin, Ramblin' Man Reptiles.
What's up? Welcome back.
Jeremy.
Tack Pythons in the chat. Not even gonna try, but that's the show at 9. At 9. She'll be on the Fat Man's at 9.
The Triple X special.
Yeah.
Creative Pro Lopez.
Yeah, man. You nailed that one last week.
You talk shit about us last week.
Won't take it personal.
The
Mrs. Wood.
Thanks for coming out.
There's my boo boo. What up, boo boo?
Of course, Crystal. She doing Pinterest, so she's paying us some time.
Yeah.
Surprised she's not watching Jeremy Warfel. That's typically her thing is to watch other podcasts, not us. But
ouch. She was just in the room setting us up because I can't do it.
Shut up.
They're enjoying Canada Day.
Giving away the secrets.
Canada Day.
What is Canada Day?
Tomorrow's Canada Day.
What is that?
Well, then why are you celebrating Canada Day today?
It's our 4th of July. I didn't say we're celebrating tomorrow. This is Canada Day weekend.
Oh.
It's like a whole event for them.
It's kind of like our 4th of July month, our Independence Month, because people will shoot fireworks off for the whole fucking month.
Oh my God.
It's good. I saw videos of it yesterday, and I'm like, it's June. It's not even July yet.
Last night, my dogs were going insane. They were hovering, cowering, jumping all over the place. The people next to us were shooting off fireworks. It was insane.
And of course, we got Josh.
Yeah.
America.
Will's also in the chat somewhere.
Yeah.
William.
Saw him.
Will's hella heat. With his
S&K Exotics. We could do this all day long.
Oh,
yeah,
we could. Yes.
Well, thanks a lot, everybody, for joining us. We do have some
appreciate it.
Amazing special guests today. They're sell themselves so that they can gain your vote in the month of December. So we're super excited about that.
So 3 out of the 4 of us know what it's like to be on the 15 minutes of blame. And we know the struggles that came with it for us. So before I want to say that before we get it on there, Chris has got it to do. I don't know if he realizes this or not, but we know, and you got it to do, bro, because it is not as easy as I thought it was going to be, staying creative and staying on top of it, because life comes in the way of that. And sometimes you just forget. What did you two see coming into this, like before we jumped in, that was different than what you expected?
So even that we all know that I had Jay do my reels, it still didn't matter. I still had to shoot everything, and it is time consuming, and the whole 9 yards. It still took up a lot of fucking time.
Even more so, like it seems like every year the competition has next leveled. Like even from when Leviathan was in, like they leveled it up, and they put out some amazing videos and good content. But even there was more content in our year. So like this new year, it's like, what more can they bring to level it up to that next level? Like we were just talking about it. It's like, do you start shooting now? Do you start recording so you've got content to make
absolutely.
sure you
a
portfolio?
100%. Yeah, I hope more people participate in this year than what happened last year. I hope that everybody participates in it, but it'll be a nightmare reposting everything or what? yeah.
I'm glad I'm not a judge.
Yeah, no kidding. So Chris, real quick, like we're gonna give you the skinny. We're gonna give you the 411 here. So take this time to ask one winner and 2 losers of the competition. Anything that you like, questions that you have here on live, so everybody can figure it out too. What questions do you have going into the competition, or like where are you nervous and think you're weak at? Like,
my thing is, I think the struggle will be constantly coming up with good ideas, because there's going to be, I already see even the Lenny coming up on his show, and the guests that have already been on in the contest this year. It's going to be a lot of work to stay kind of on the top of people's minds. The creativity part is kind of where like my weakness is. I'm good at taking pictures of snakes and posting them, but coming up with like the real ideas and not having them be repetitive. Trying to reach out to people, even like collaborate on some stuff, would be a good idea, but that's also not my strongest suit.
Right.
So it's going to be a challenge, but it puts you outside of your comfort zone, and it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we got a contract now too.
Yeah, there is. So you when you sign that, basically you're agreeing to participate.
Okay.
Because what's the point? If you're not going to follow through all the way to the end.
Right.
The publicity you get just from the show is nothing. It's what you put into it after. That's where you get your name out there. Like, because it's not just the fat man pushing your reel. It's you, the fat man, and everybody else that you're in cahoots with, the judges tagging in this stuff. And that just blows you up, man, exponentially. It really did. It probably gained me, I would say, 300 followers, 400 followers on Instagram.
And that's the thing. Even if you don't win it overall, I mean, you're still getting your name out there. You're still in front of people. You got the judges sharing. You got people that are going to vote. Hey, that was a cool reel. I'm going to share that one. So you're getting your name out there. It's even if you don't win it, it's good publicity for you.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you do win it and you suck, and then it's no publicity because you don't do anything with it. But I may know a guy that did that, but I don't know.
You're pissing away an opportunity.
You are mean. You're mean.
You're right. Right, Jared? That's pretty funny though. Didn't I beat you?
No, Jay beat me. Jay beat me.
No. Still beat you. Still beat you. Yep. Take it out.
Hey, aren't you on my side? You
Not
told me
anymore.
this dude was a fucking piece of shit for selling out.
Not
That's
anymore.
what you said. You said that friggin' Paul's a piece of shit. I'll never do anything with him.
I believe
Sell out.
I never ever said that. I don't talk about anybody really that negatively.
He's Canadian, so I don't believe it.
Okay, come on.
Oh,
Let's
yeah, we're
I-
known
the
to be
Canadian
alive.
side slipped a little bit. You slipped. You showed a little American fire there. You came a little south of the borderline there.
I do have a funny video that I want to show you guys. So I'm going to add it to stage. So just hold on. I thought it was funny just because of what we do and what we're into and people that are coming on. So hold on.
And own the strangest pets? Like, what do you mean you own a lizard? Like, when was the hot girl meeting where you decided, hey, we're done with dogs, it's on to snakes now? Like, if it doesn't have scales, it's not for sale. It is very attractive, though, because they're just nerds about it. Like, tell me more about your python, Dr. Doolittle.
Now, you can read into the
weird
python
hot
thing.
girl thing now is friggin' snakes and lizards. It really is.
You can read into the python thing any which way you want, but do try to keep it PG.
What kind of python?
Wow. Python.
I mean, what do you think?
No, the competition is fantastic, and it's a good way to push your brand. But you got to push in the work to push your brand. And most of the people in the competition were fantastic because they shared your reel. Even though they were in a competition with you, we were all sharing each other's reels, and it gets your brand out there, their brand out there, and in the end, like as much as there is a vote, the judges get to see all this, and they get to see how much work you're putting into it, and that kind of gives you that opportunity to say, I'm willing to put in the work. I'm willing to get my hands dirty. I'm willing to go outside my comfort zone. I was, phenomenal in my interview with Justin.
You
One of the best.
You needed this show. You needed this show.
Yeah.
After that,
Yes, he
after that.
did. Look how big his nose is getting. It's like stretching out there. Like,
It made the camera go out of focus.
You guys are just mean. Like you Yanks. I'm telling you, I don't know if I can handle you. But like it was a great opportunity. I had a lot of fun. I did not enjoy the surprise. I wish I could have just had it with the fat man because we can talk to each other. He picks on me a lot, and that's fine. I don't care. As a Canadian, I got pretty thick skin. But just I could not handle Justin. I didn't. Yeah, it did not go well.
I've
But
never seen somebody tell Justin to go fuck himself more times in one sitting and still be in this hobby.
politely.
It's amazing. Like it was like you meeting your real life hero, and all of a sudden, like you were just like
Froze.
No, I'm reading. The
Hold on
real
a second. I need to comment on this. The reels aren't all that matter, and you actually need quality animals. Paul has like fucking 4 animals in his 63,000 damn empty enclosures back there.
Yeah,
What are you talking about? Nobody ever investigated that. I still call bullshit. It was rigged. It was a friggin' New York Mafia thing. It was bullshit.
and yes, we'll ask Summer why she doesn't like me on Monday.
Hey, by the way, did she ever answer you?
No, she answered Crystal.
Yes, I know, but did she actually?
Yeah, so they're all 100% Wookiees. So Justin wrote back to Crystal again. They completely avoid me. I really think I did something wrong to Summer somewhere, and I don't know how. But they did respond back very awesomely to Crystal, and I do appreciate that. Justin did confirm the genetics. They are all 100% Wookiee. So we're super lucky. We got 5 Wookiees out of 5. And the 3 are Wookiee, Leopard, and Champagne.
That's awesome.
Nice.
So,
Maybe
so
you're too hot.
Pardon
Maybe
me?
you're too hot for summer.
well, there's
I mean,
definitely
I do
there's
remember
definitely
this in the shower video.
I don't think that's the problem, but
Mm.
anyways,
Okay.
yeah, she does not respond to me very well. But she responds to Crystal very well, so I'm just
Let
going
Crystal
to
handle it.
avoid asking questions. I'm just gonna let Crystal ask the questions
Yeah.
from now on.
She's the better half anyway.
Yeah, well, she does have those. You know,
I mean, let's be
assets.
honest for a minute. Let's be honest.
let's be honest about.
Oh God, it went right
Right on over.
over the Canadian's head.
So anyway,
I never said I'm bright.
yeah.
I'm good at what I do, but not
You're good
too
looking.
much.
You're good looking. That's for sure.
Thank God, because that's
Thank
what
God.
You can't be brains and beauty. I mean,
Okay,
No,
what's
you cannot.
Portuguese Python's getting rid of the mustache?
No, he didn't. Did he get?
He
did
did.
shave it?
He shaved it
oh,
He
for the
said he-
show.
for the show. I told him, I'm like, you are not the same man. And
After he put out the patch,
yeah, it's gone. Like he has the same thing as I have right now.
Who?
That's a shame.
I told him I was disappointed, and that now he's got to grow it back.
Mm.
But he said he was just taking a small break,
Sorry, I was.
summer break.
Okay.
So do we bring on our special guests?
Yeah.
What do you? I thought you had another video.
No, I have pretty pictures of the cute couple. They are so cute it makes me nauseous though.
Oh, they are. They're so cute. Look at that Tennessee
Not very
orange.
nice.
God,
Well,
I can't.
I'm just saying it just nauseates me a little. Like and they're just so polite. Like everybody's gonna see they're prim and proper. They're not like us. Well, that's okay though. I didn't get any more of
They are not
us.
prim and proper. They are not. They like
Well,
to hide behind it and say
Don't-
they are.
Don't
Well-
let it fool you.
They are not prim and proper.
I'm
Things that
gonna
I've
say
seen
I'm
them
gonna
do with snakes.
turn the camera off. I'm sure you'll see.
okay. So Shauna, did you want to invite our wonderful guests in?
Without further
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Snakes in the Batman proudly brings to you its new breeder segment, 15 Minutes of Life!
There we go.
Oh, Shauna just cut you right off.
right off, cut
Yeah.
me right off. Without further ado, let's give a second chance at redemption for the Herpin Harbins, y'all.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, glad to be here. We've just been laughing the whole time in
Yeah.
the green room listening to you guys cut on each other. It's fun.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, Paul sucks.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know how to take us being like the first this year, like on here for the contestants this year. I figured we must have screwed up our interview so bad that we're the worst already. So we
No.
get to go first.
Not in any particular order.
Well, I know you wanted to behave yourself, Alisha, but you just said cunt like 3 times. So
Oh, did I?
Subtle. Very
It's very
subtle.
subtle.
We'll let Jared do the subtitles
Yeah.
for this.
There you go.
Oh man.
Jared spoke super highly of you, and you are the first one to break in a new segment that we want to give everybody another chance to just let everybody see you. See what you're about, see what you're doing, see how you think you can win the 15 minutes of lame and be the next champion.
Yeah.
Right, Paul?
I think they use a belt, like the old wrestling champion belts. You get this big,
Yeah.
giant, like gold something.
15 MLL. That's what you should get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what you do is like, Paul, you would hand it over to them. So I think with all your fame and winnings,
I got to fly over to Tennessee. All right.
Yeah, with all your fame and winnings.
It's awesome.
It's fun down
What
here.
a good time.
Yeah, we go out in the lake, hang
It's
out.
not over. If you go over, one way you're in the ocean, Paul, and one way you're in the Midwest. So get your,
So you're
your
retarded. So I can
geography.
just go over.
Just go south.
Just
Just
shoot
straight
right
south.
over it.
It's mostly
Um,
there.
Yeah,
I don't know what they teach in your schools up there, you fucking
No.
Yankee,
that's
but
okay.
it's horrible.
You're retarded.
I love you.
It's okay.
You just hop on the tee, like the
Yeah.
trail, boom, Knoxville.
Yeah, super cool.
So let us hear it. Let us hear your spiel. Like let's put them on the big screen, and you guys give us like give us a blurb. Tell us what you're all about and what you do and who you guys are. Second chance. This is a second chance. Put them on the big screen, Shauna.
No pressure.
No pressure at
pressure.
all.
So we're Josh. We're Josh and Alisha Harbin. I'm son of Tom Harbin. He's been in the industry for a while. So we didn't get into this until about 5 years ago. So I've grown up around snakes, but we weren't interested in the keeping and the husbandry of it until recently. So
He did all the rodent stuff years ago.
Yeah, I
that's
was-
how we
yeah.
got good rodents at this point.
I was dad's rodent technician growing up. So
Yeah.
just that came natural to me. So it was time to grow rodents. I told her, I was like, I got this. We'll do fine. So we set up a little shop in the garage for the rodents, converted a bedroom in the house to the snake room, painted it the most beautiful color of orange that we could
Perfect
ever
color.
imagine.
Perfect
And,
color. Yeah, I mean,
Horrible.
perfect color.
I have to. We can't have them full screen the whole time. That's a lot.
it's funny. I mean, like in our conference, everybody's like, "Oh, that color's hideous," but to us, we're just like, "Oh,
No, it's
that feels good.
perfect.
Just rub it on." The fact that y'all hate it makes it even
We
better.
love it. We love that. We love the hate coming back. But no, actually, like we went to a couple of shows several years ago just to meet up with his parents to hang out because they were nearby.
It was Atlanta Ripticon.
Yeah, and he'd already shown me like a lot of the animals he had, and he'd already started getting into the hognose, and of course he had ball pythons already to that point. And I just fell in love with the hognose, and so we brought back Morty, our first one, and almost killed him. We put him in a big giant container like an idiot, and he
Just
didn't
like
eat.
we tell all the
just like we
first
said,
time
don't
buyers
do
not
it.
to do.
Don't do it.
We were those people.
10 weeks didn't eat. So I took it back to Tom. I was like, I'm going to kill this little snake. And so he went and put it back out in one of these little racks that it grew up in. And the next day it ate. And so then I took it back home with a new rack system and started from there. And then I went kind of psycho. We went from 1 to like 17 in like 3 weeks.
You remember like gremlins? You weren't supposed to feed them after midnight. We gave them the bucket of chicken.
It was just
and
called
there's
Morph
snakes
Market,
everywhere.
Morph Market, hitting buttons, clicking buttons.
Yeah.
So we kind of got crazy with that. We ended up buying a proven breeder pair from a guy that was actually getting out of hognose breeding because it was COVID at that point, early COVID. And he was a pulmonary therapist, and he had this beautiful pair of axanthic het albino condas that had just laid. And I was like, you know what? I remember sitting on the front porch and said, Josh,
She's like, what do you think? What do you think? She showed me.
Pretty
It was
big
an
investment.
expensive investment, but I told her, I was like, they're beautiful. I think
Yeah.
this will be fun. I think we're going to do snake stuff.
And we did that. And I was like immediate purchase. The guy had already sold them to somebody locally. And I said, I will pay for shipping. I'll give you an extra $300 on top of what you're asking already. I really want this. I'm a veterinarian. I promise these animals will be taken care of. And he went with it. He sold them to us. And they're our power couple. They produce for us every year. They paid themselves off with one snake out of their first clutch. And so then the hognose just started snowballing. And then I remember telling Josh, I said, "Oh, we're not going to do ball pythons. I don't want to do this. I'm going to do ball pythons."
Everybody's into ball
Yeah,
pythons.
there's too many of them already out there. And
half
then
of this room.
oh
right,
my
pythons.
Was that a dig? I think that was a dig.
yeah,
Like a dig.
It might have been a little bit of a dig.
yeah.
Negative 2 points for the Harbins.
Yeah.
But we ended up kind of getting into like lavender albino stuff, and of course we've got monarch stuff coming out, and so banana. We've kind of grown through the process. We bought all the crap snakes that everybody buys in the beginning, and had a few clutches in the beginning, and now we're letting go of those and building up to DG Clown, hypo added, all the kind of combos that we want, adding stuff to Monarch and that kind of thing. And the main thing is still the hognose. It's always going to be the hognose. Like if somebody said, "Hey, if y'all can only have one snake, what would you have?" I said, we'd get rid of everything else and we'd have hognose. That is our species. But for me, the ball pythons is the genetic complexity. We both are pretty analytical people. and I like a challenge, and I find the ball python genetics challenging. So that's one reason that keeps me driven in that area. And then we have
when you name the same gene 3 different names depending on where you're from, you got to sort that puzzle out.
He loves that stuff. And
so with that, let me ask you guys a question here. What is the biggest difference between and maybe the biggest hardship between learning the genetics that you're used to with hogs and grasping the genetics of ball pythons, because it's completely different. It's just like leopard geckos and stuff. So what have you guys seen with the difference in learning the two?
I think what is a good challenge is with ball pythons, you're going to get a maximum of maybe 10 eggs. Typically, that's a big clutch. With hognose, you're going to get 2 clutches, usually, sometimes 3 clutches. So you've got the opportunity to see maybe 30 plus babies. So you get a better sample size.
Yeah.
So with hognose, you get to see a lot more. It's easier to prove out the animal.
Yeah.
As that's not the case with balls.
I think probably genetics comparison, though, is, there's 2 incomplete dominant genes known in hognose. That's it, and the supers are easy to recognize. And then everything else, for the most part, I mean, there are line bred traits and all these kind of like highlighter traits and stuff like that, but there's a lot of recessives in hognose. And so so I love hognose, but the genetics become kind of, as you start putting triple visuals together and start stacking, you end up with a pink snake, no matter what. I mean, all the triple stuff just turns pink or turns blue. And so that's the 2 directions you can go. And I know, to me, the hognose is more of the species I like as far as living with it and pet people and stuff like that, and keeping them. But as far as genetic complexity, you end up kind of diluting or intensifying, the melanin one direction and diluting it the other way. It's a little too simple. And I know people are finding things, but a lot of things so far haven't been replicated. But you start getting into the ball pythons, and it's so much incomplete dominant gene stacking and heavy stacking that you've obliterated some of the patterning to even help you ID things. Thank God for the genetic testing at this point, because I had something weird pop out, and we all talked about it when Jared was over and Shane was over today. I'm going to have to end up shed testing crap now that I didn't think I needed to, because they were both proven parents and I got some wonky thing out of it. And so we don't have hognose genetics yet. I know they talk about it, but it's not as big an industry. I mean, they're not going to do a lot of genetics testing on, a 15% of the reptile industry. And so I get it. It's not where the money is at. I hope they get it soon, because it would be nice to be able to prove some of these things out without keeping them for 3 to 4 years, or running the risk of a male getting eaten by a female. We have that problem with hognose. I mean, it can happen, or your whole clutch get eaten by the female because you didn't catch the eggs in time. And then you got to wait another year, because she ate everybody.
That's gross poop, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
But
thank God for Charlie from Gray Rider Reptiles and then genetic shed or shedtesting.com to jump in.
He's really doing a great job. And I know that I think he's trying to work on some stuff too, for colubrids. And so
he got it, or I think at a point that he has,
Yeah. And at least sex testing, it sounds kind of stupid, but when you deal with a 5-gram animal, you don't pop hemipenes, or you shouldn't pop hemipenes on a 5-gram animal.
They might pop out.
They might pop out. You might just break them in half.
Gone.
And so, you usually can visualize based on the tail length with the hogs, but sometimes you have to wait. Then even probing them can be a little sketchy when they're 10 to 15 grams. So there are times when we've got a high dollar animal, we will send a shed test off. And I would, we've been using RGI for that. And if Charlie becomes available for that, I'll use him. But it would be nice to be able to do some shed chest testing on some of these hogs. But okay, I'll send you.
Charlie says he's got you covered. He's got colubrid sex testing is done. It'll be announced next week.
Nice. I'm on it.
But even the fat man said when they had eyeballs, they had this one snake. It had too much genetics. They called it the dirty sock.
Yeah.
So when you have too much genetics jammed into an animal, so sometimes it's almost better to start peeling it back and having a little bit less.
Yeah.
And then trying something different with it. So there is such thing as an animal with too much genetics, and you're like, okay, that's not working anymore. Let's dial it back a little.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that's where, you know, I do see a lot of the hognose go in that direction. Is they're stacking on everything, and we're not visually seeing. To me, and I think to Josh too, in some cases, a visually appealing animal that, you know, why is this thing worth $15,000 where I can make one just a little bit different for about $2,000, you know? And it's like, I'm going to probably be able to sell the $2,000 snake instead of the $15,000 snake. And so, and the $15,000 snake is the more powerful breeder, but then you're still, what are you combining it with at that point? Maybe you are trying to pill some stuff out per se and get genetics that are a little bit more variable. But, I think, you know, we do corn snakes too. You know, we don't push them. We only had 2 pairings this year and 1 female slugged out.
We had a hard time selling them, just not as many people buying them.
How big is your operation? If you have hognose and you're telling me that when they lay double, they can do double clutch, and how many eggs in a clutch? I mean, you have to have the rack space, huh?
Yeah, I think we're at 274 animals right now with, I'd say, like, these are all this year's hatchlings right now. And I think we're in the 70, 75 range, and there's some still in the incubator. But
we didn't hit them all.
We had some slugs and stuff.
Which is probably a blessing in disguise. We had snakes coming out our ears.
But you have to see that, like, it all happens now. You know, like, we've got, one's already hatched out and like 3 others in the incubator. I think I've got 1 girl getting ready to have her second clutch. They won't be very big though. And then we're done. Like, that's it until next spring, where like the ball pythons are just kind of trickling in, all year long. So it's a little bit different, slam and then gone. And then we have 6 hognose left over from last year as far as available. So, and I'm not even advertising. I don't even have those on Morph Market. Like, we'll go to the next show and sell all those. So, I mean, it's a different market. It's just a whole different market. I mean, it's a different dynamic, the different type of person somewhat that comes to talk to us about hognose.
We probably had a little run on hognose this year from ball python breeders. They were just looking for something else. They wanted to diversify.
I think that's a fact. Yeah.
And yes, Chris, I said there was too much genetics. When you have a 1 in 364 options, you have too many genetics in that animal.
All right, so to get us back on track a little bit, Chris, you had a couple questions you wanted for the Harbins. Go ahead.
Yeah, so looking at some of your recent posts and something you did with Shane recently, something I think is a good idea and very beneficial for this industry is those clips for the probes. I think that's kind of game changer for some of these things, because I use the foil tape too. Yeah. So I saw that and if you want to talk about that, how you guys came about that. It
was a dual operation mentally, and then he does all the design work.
We were fed up with tape. It always moved. It got gooey. Right. And then wherever you taped it down, there was always that residue. So I was just looking for a cleaner option. And we went through, I don't know, a couple dozen revisions of an idea and finally came across something that worked. I wanted to make one clip to rule them all, like one clip that would hold everybody. And it turned out it did all of it not very well. So I ended up with like 3 flavors, because most people have Herpstat, VE, or Freedom Breeder thermostats for the most part. I made 3 different clips that fit those. You can move it to different levels because it's magnetic. You can make them whatever colors you want to, because it's easier to see. Usually when you're in the back of the rack, it's shadowy and you don't know where they are. You might have forgotten which layer or level you're on. So she's really good at coming up with ideas. She had some great concepts along the way, and I was able to implement it. I do mechanical design by trade. She'll bring a napkin sketch to me, and I'm like, oh, this is great. I know what to do with this.
Well, we wanted to build the magnet inside. At first, we had talked about gluing the magnet externally, and we're like, well, then we're still trusting adhesive to do its job. So then he figured out how to, during his layering situation, put the magnet on the inside. Well, then
the other step, it's buried in there.
It's buried in there. It's never coming out. The other thing that we wanted to do is make sure the probe did not have like coverage, like it has its own openness, so it's not trapped under heat, causing an irregular number to occur on your thermostat. And so there was a few little things, and we wanted to be small enough to go between, you know, the bins on the rack, but still visible enough. Like I've got little markers on the front of our ARS tubs, our ARS racks, that tells me where the probe is, and I just shine my light. I'm like, there it is. I can see it, and I just move to the next area. So it's just an easy way to see it, easy way that it holds on there. And like people are like, what if you pull the probe wire? It's like, well, I still tape my probe wire to the back of my rack, you know, because I yank stuff around like an idiot, and I'll rip everything out. And so I do attach all the cords are attached.
That's phase 2 is we've got a Freedom Breeder rack now. We've got ARS racks, and then we've got tons of PVC stuff. So I'm going to design some clamps that will hold the cable in place, because that is worst case scenario. It doesn't matter what system you use, tape or clamp, whatever. If the probe comes off, that thermostat's ramping up, and you're going to cook snakes.
Right.
That's everybody's biggest fear. If this plastic I'm using ever melts, it's not the fault of the plastic.
Yeah.
Something else went catastrophically wrong. So.
He used really high grade plastic that doesn't degrade over time on a
It's the same stuff that water bottles are made out of.
Yeah.
So it's a good durable plastic, but it melts at 250 degrees Celsius. So if it melts, it'll actually flow at like 90 degrees, which is about 175 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, none of us are going to do well in 175.
No,
so
it's not going to happen. So.
That's our number one question. Well, is it going to melt? I'm like, well, it could, but if it does, you got bigger problems.
I guess really one of the biggest things that we're trying to do is come at it from a different angle. Me being a veterinarian and him having a mechanical engineering background, like what can we do to help the industry? What kind of things can we come up with? What kind of things can we help teach people about? I'm not a reptile vet. Now I do a lot of reptile medicine because we have a lot of animals. And so when somebody's not right, I'm the one working on it. And I understand husbandry. And I did do reptile medicine when it was out in practice, when I worked with his dad for a while. And I worked with another guy here in town that is an exotics vet also. But that's been 15 years and I've been a little bit removed from it. And the guy that I work for now is and he doesn't like, I could say a lot of things, but anyway, and I've decided I was in the dog show world for years. And so I still do a lot of canine reproduction and things like that. It's kind of one of my primary things during general practice. And it got kind of a burden for me. And when I go to the dog show, then I'm still a veterinarian all the time. And I don't want people to hesitate to ask me about reptile things, but I want them to also understand, like, if Jared came to me with one of his lizards, I'd be like, I don't know, it's a lizard. I would help as best I could, but I don't know the medicine behind those particular animals. And there's so much variation between exotic animals, what can be done, what can't be done. I know we've had a lot of people, ball python breeders, buy hognose from us this year. And I know in the last couple of years, and I know they go home and sometimes dip them in frontline. I'm like, you do that to your hogs, you're going to kill them all. Like that stuff cannot be done to them. And so there's things like that we want to be able to educate people and be that source of, if we don't know it, we're going to try to help you figure it out.
We were all the rookie at some point in this hobby.
Oh yeah.
It started off.
So that being said, and that's actually going to where I was. We're all learning, like you said, and I actually learned stuff from Shane about the health and well-being of animals. We had one that got egg bound, so I was able to save her after watching a video from Shane, because we don't have a lot of reptile vets here in Canada, so it's not something we have a lot of, and it's hard. So you learn stuff. But that being said, what do you think is the most difficult thing about becoming a breeder in this hobby? What is it you see that new breeders are getting into the hobby, and I think everybody just expects that everything's going to go smooth, everything's going to be perfect, everything's going to I put this animal to this animal, it creates new animals, new life, and it's great. What do you think is the most difficult thing about watching new breeders getting into the hobby and deciding, hey, I'm going to make a go at it?
You can see the fear, or sort of pseudo fear, when people are coming up to the table at the shows. You can speak person to person. You can tell they're nervous. They ask a million questions and they're just not comfortable about what to do. Like, what exactly is it? So we've got a care sheet for each species. We walk them through it several times. as slow as they want to go. You spent like a couple hours with one person at a show. We weren't trying to make a sale. We were trying to make that person comfortable. And so I think that's a big hurdle because there's not a lot of good data about how to do this. If you go to your local big box pet store, like all their care sheets are pretty much, maybe not wrong, but there's a lot of wrong things on there. We have to tell everybody that hognose don't go on sand. They're not Kenyan sand boas. There's little things like that. And so I think it's a big ask to expect a new person to be able to get on the internet and find good info because they don't know. They don't know what's
I think
right or
being
wrong.
prepared to be able to answer a lot of questions for people is a hard thing. I think, a lot of people in this, there are people that I've met that are very introverted in this hobby. And that's hard to do when you want to sell these things. You cannot just be closed up and hidden in the back. And so as a breeder or want to be breeder coming into this hobby, you have to want to be able to speak to people, talk to people, be open with people, help people, and I think that can be hard for some people. It's not hard for us. I think that was one of the easier tasks for us because that's what I do all day long is talk to people and try to help them. And, but I guess I didn't really know what we were getting into this hobby. I mean, that's kind of, I guess I had it kind of in my mind, like the dog world, and it's completely not like that. So for me, it's been a lot easier to get into this hobby because it has been more inviting. That being said, we do have a good last name. I mean, I think a lot of people don't necessarily get as lucky as we did. Okay. I think we had it a little bit easier as we came into the hobby with already.
Dad's been a huge resource.
Yeah,
we lean on him all the time.
A huge resource for people.
That's great.
There was already a trust, and I'm glad we had that trust. And now what we have to do is make sure we continue that trust. We do not want to diminish the trust of the Harbin name. That's a little bit of pressure on us because we don't want to mess up. I mean, because that is not just our name, it's his name, and eventually his brother's name, because his brother breeds geckos. And so, I do.
You can't screw up. It's not even that you don't want to. It's just not an option.
Don't be the black sheep.
So that was going to be a question that I had coming up. I had two questions later on for you guys, and one of them was going to be, especially for Josh, like what was it like growing up in the reptile industry with your dad being who he was, and what's it like now that you guys are kind of as a couple stepping out of the shadows and taking your own your own claim to fame there?
I think I was a little bit oblivious to it because when I was a kid, I helped Dad with it. I mostly grow the rodents, but I didn't really grasp all the genetics and things he was talking about and all the neat things he kept bringing home. He brought home all kinds of cool stuff. And we would go to the local, not community college, elementary schools and do like snake show days. And so I just thought that was something cool that my dad was doing. And then once we started, actually our first Repticon, we went to Atlanta to meet Dad and talk about this stuff. I saw all these people just coming to the table and like getting his advice and like showing him snakes. Like, what do you think this is? And I asked Dad, I was like, you're kind of a big deal here, aren't you? He goes, yeah, I've been in this a while.
Yeah. I don't think we didn't even know, like going and hanging out with him, that he was that level.
But he's just been in it for 40 years now. So
it's not like
amazing.
It's not like Tom's gonna go, I'm a big deal, I mean, I'm the Monarch guy. I mean, he's not that kind of person. And so it took us being in the industry and seeing, I'm like, and then all of a sudden talking to people that outside of the industry, meeting them, and they're like, oh yeah, Tom Harbin, Tom. I'm like, God, everybody knows Tom Harbin, and
we've modeled our sales technique off of him.
Yeah, we learned from him.
He's a veterinarian also, so is Alisha. So they're great at talking to people, explaining things at a highly technical level or a very simple level.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so that helps.
Well, Brian and Holly, again, they're going back to the same thing, the hurdles that breeders get into. I think we had it even coming in, even with the mentor that we had, is what do you get into? Like, what do you invest into?
Well, that was going to be my question.
Yeah.
If somebody's coming up to you guys and coming up to the table, which might I add that you guys obviously are very busy outside of the community with your jobs. So how often do you guys do your shows? How many shows do you do a year? And if somebody comes up to you that hasn't been in a reptile show or a reptile community or doesn't have a reptile, which way do you steer them? you steer them towards hog noses, or do you steer them towards the ball python?
I'm not seeing a lot of crossover at the shows. People like, so we'll have like the hogs and the corns and the balls, and people, breeze right past the hogs, go right past the corns, and then just stop and like rubberneck at the ball pythons. So they kind of know what they want. But every now and then we get like kind of the crossover. They're like, well, what do you think? So we said, well, if you can do ball pythons, you can do hognose, but there's some differences.
Yeah, and I think we steer a lot of people that have young children that want to handle them a lot away from the hognose, mainly because we have very intense feeding hognose, which people don't realize what that means is they think everything is food, and they're not aggressive. They're not aggressive animals. When they get frightened, they cobra up and they boop you and hiss and carry on.
Like face punch you.
When they bite you, is because they're hungry and they latch onto your finger and you cannot get them off. And so we have had plenty of people with children. The child wanted the hognose, and we went over things in depth with the parents, because like this kid does not need to be handling this animal by itself. Not that they should be anyway, corn snake, ball python, whatever it may be. But I know that I've steered people into corn snakes for first time snakes, because you could put them in a garbage can, throw them in the bed. You can do whatever you want. They're going to live wherever you want to. They're going to eat every time you feed them. I mean, they're the easiest snake. And so they're kind of one of our introductory snakes, per se, is like, if you can do this, you can do everything, And then a lot of people do end up going ball pythons because they want something they can handle a little bit better.
We actually rescued a ball python because somebody told us it wasn't cuddly enough, and I had never heard that word. What they were expecting it to do.
They was going to sleep with them or something, but
a new one.
It does depend on the person and what they're wanting out of it. And if the kids are already into the hognose, which a lot of them are because of snake discovery, thank you. Yes. They know what they're getting into. They've watched the videos. The parents understand. We go over it with the parents, and then sometimes the parents are like, okay, I think we can handle this. And sometimes they're like, oh, I don't think this is the right snake. And then they may end up, we've had them switch over and get a corn snake,
Well, everybody at the snake shows wants to hold a baby hognose because they're cute. Right. But we know they're going to get bit because they're babies. They're hungry. We withhold food before a show because we're traveling, so they won't be on heat. So that's just a recipe for disaster. People really respect that. When you just say no, they're like, okay. They just get a picture with it and make a post.
One last thing. If you go back to what Shane from Small Town said, you guys have got some really cool. We're not going to show them because that's not what we do here.
No.
But you guys have some really cool, like maybe some world's first on the hoggies. So do you guys want to talk about some of the cool things that you guys produced this year?
Well, we don't have world's first, but we have North American firsts. I'm almost certain. So,
or if it's out there, nobody's put it out.
Yeah, they haven't put it out there.
They might be like us. They just suck at Facebook and Instagram.
What's North American?
Both Canada and U.S. Right, now, there is a breeder in Canada that produced.
All right, so you weren't.
Yeah, I don't count Mexico. Sorry, but.
I didn't know this. We have teams. We pick sides.
No, pick sides, I guess. But so we imported a pair 3 years ago of a hognose that is Swiss chocolate, and anybody in the hognose game knows that's kind of like the new stuff on the block here. They came in from Switzerland, and it's a very dark gene, very, very dark.
Their head is almost black.
Yeah, blacked out head, and there's a little bit of variation in them. Some of them are almost black, and we don't necessarily have the black line because we ended up getting the dark brown line that was blended into toffee belly, which is another morph that is very common, a recessive gene.
I think it's the most perfectly named morph in all of reptile world. Its belly looks like toffee.
Yeah, it's toffee. It's literally very, very specific.
It's not named after someone's whatever.
Yeah. So. When we ended up getting the pair, I went ahead and got a double hets for, I wanted 2 recessive genes. And I don't think a lot of people did that. I think a lot of people bought just straight Swiss chocolate stuff. And so we were able to hit a Swiss chocolate toffee belly anaconda. Anaconda is an incomplete dominant gene that decreases the pattern. And then you can get super condas, which actually blanch out the pattern. As far as I know, I don't think the guy in Canada has produced a conda version of it. He produced a Swiss chocolate toffee belly last year. And so that was the first in North America to be produced. And I know the originator of Swiss chocolate in Switzerland has produced multiple ones of these, but I think as far as I know, we are maybe the first one to produce the anaconda version. And so
The guy in Switzerland who did this played the game
Genius.
well. Like
Genius.
he went ahead and made all the pairings. He made all the morph
Yeah.
combos and
Yeah.
put them all over the internet and didn't sell any of them.
Yeah, and he only sold girls and
Yeah.
visual girls initially, and he held all the visual males in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Then he finally released visual males last year, I think, or maybe the year before. But he did it very, very. He had it
That's smart.
dialed in.
Methodical.
Nick Saban
Yeah,
of Hog Nose.
he did it great. He's been wonderful to deal with, and so, but we got really lucky with what we hit this year. We also hit 3 visual Swiss chocolates, which them by themselves are very valuable snakes as far as genetically, because now we can hold them back or hold at least 1 or 2 back and start blending them into some of the other recessive genes that we have here. Yeah,
But
that's
we
kind
wanna
of our big
keep
thing. Yeah.
a variety of stuff because ultimately we want to sell some of these things to feed our hobby. So we get to sell these things to have fun
Right.
doing it. But we still sell a ton of the normals. They're like a
Yeah.
$200, $250 snake, and people love them. I still think they're a beautiful animal too.
Oh yeah.
We're not trying to like classify ourselves like we're only upper tier hognose people or whatever. We still kind of run the gamut.
People still need pets. Like it doesn't matter whether it's ball python or corn snake or whatever. Even before you ever become a breeder, you buy a pet.
Yeah.
You
exactly.
find out you love the pet, and then you dive down the rabbit hole, which is reptile keeping, which is 200 and some odd animals that you don't really need.
Yeah.
So the most important reason that you guys are here, the 15 minutes of lane. It's the most prestigious and coveted award you can win. How do you guys plan on winning it this year?
We're gonna just wipe everybody off the map, basically. So we're coming in hot at some point.
Yeah, someday.
At some point.
We're gonna go full throttle.
I think we're going to try to push, our ability to be able to help teach people things. And we really want to power up the hognose. I mean, they're never going to overtake ball pythons. We're not idiots. But we still want to push them higher up in the industry because they're such a cool snake. And we do have some pretty killer ball python stuff too. So I'm not saying that we're lacking in that area because we do have some higher end ball python type things. But we're going to start ramping up as far as trying to be more educational, trying to help teach people. Not that anybody else is not doing that. It's just that's kind of the direction that we're going to be taking things.
We both flock to the instructional type videos where they're walking you
Yeah.
through. Like Garrick DeMeyer shows you animals and shows you 4 or 5 different variations of a gene. Is like you see it like, that's why that. Yeah. And Emily and Ed doing their snake discovery stuff. They're just
very
getting people
educational.
excited about snakes as pets.
Yeah.
I do that at work. All of my mugs have our logos on it. And so they're like, is that a snake on your mug? I'm like, yeah, it's a snake. I was like, how many snakes do you need? And they're like, I guess I don't look like the prototypical snake guy to them, but they just see me geek out about it. And now they'll come up to me and say, hey, you got any new babies? I'm like, oh, I got babies. And I'll get my phone out and show them pictures. And they're like, oh, that's beautiful. So trying to get them hyped up, show them that's a pretty fun hobby.
Chris definitely looks like the prototypical snake guy.
100%. Right? Yeah.
Most people got photos of their children on their phone, and us, it's snake. And you keep swiping, it's different snake. And what I just purchased.
Eggs, and there's a snake, and there's some eggs, and there's a pair. There's some locks. We got to take pictures of those locks.
I can't remember where we were. We were with
Snake porn.
Dad, and somebody asked me, "Y'all are into snakes?" And Dad's like, "Oh yeah, here's my lock screen. It's a snake."
Yeah,
and
we
Alicia's
all
like,
showed
"Here's my lock screen. It's a snake."
We
I'm
were
like,
at
"I bet it's
church. We were at church, and we're showing them all these snake pictures.
Awesome.
It was pretty good.
That's
awesome.
Well, you guys have done awesome, I think, this time. Last round for questions. Chris, you got anything for them?
I think you touched on it on everything. I'm really intrigued by the clip, so we have to talk about that.
Definitely.
Get some over here.
I accidentally released the website live, and I'm getting orders coming in. I've got to go shut that
I was
off.
like, I didn't know we had it live.
I was going to say, how do people reach out to get that?
Yep. Pimp that information out here.
Yeah, we will. We'll do some videos soon because I want to do an instructional video on how to do that properly.
Right.
People don't put instruction sheets in with things anymore. You have to make a video for instruction sheets. That absolutely drives me bonkers. That's the
We
modern
can
way.
do it. I mean, I think I could probably explain it to people as he he can get in. I can show how I like to tape things down on the rack, but the magnet probe is on the
Shane
actual
made a
thing.
video that was great.
Yeah, he did a great
Yeah, it was a
video.
good video.
Yeah, he did a really good job. So that was very helpful, and we appreciate him very much for doing that.
Shane's
Shout
awesome.
out to Shane for helping today too. He's
Oh,
sweat out there with us, and Jared.
I had to run to the clinic and I checked I was getting out of the car and I took a deep breath. I was like, is it like 100% humidity? And it was 75%. So it was thick, and it was like 9 o'clock in the morning at that point, 10 o'clock. And I looked at it and it was showing, oh, it's 82 degrees. I said, oh, it feels way hotter than that. It said, oh, it feels like 94. And I'm like,
That's right.
I hope they are not cooking. And of course they come in, we got all these rats in tubs. I'm like, let's just put them all in the kitchen, cool them down. Everybody get cooled down. It's like
it was hot. I was sweating. I wasn't even doing as much as them. Like I was just trying to help get rats packed up in tubs, but I was pouring sweat.
I found out you can't rent a refrigerated box truck. Like you just can't get it.
I was like, Josh, if we did a U-Haul, we're going to cook all the animals. And he's like, yeah, we are. I was like, how are we going to get in there? We were panicking yesterday afternoon. Like, how are we going to do this?
I said, Sarah, call me now. We got to talk about this. Like, we were
freaking out.
Alert 5.
I've got 3.5 bags of rat food in the bed of my truck that is just spilled out everywhere. So
I was going to sweep it out, and Jared's like, nah, just throw it in there. We'll drag it down the highway. It worked. It worked out great.
It did.
Good. It was very good.
So, Jared, you got a question? Last one.
I think I'm done. I think they've done awesome. It was a great interview. We appreciate you guys coming out.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
You got anything?
I was just gonna about that. Well, I was asking about the clips, and you said that you're gonna put out a video and how to buy some or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
I've only been selling them at snake shows to people just to kind of get them out there in the wild, and so they've been out there in the wild for about a year now, and I've not had any negative feedback from them yet. They're plastic; you can break them if you want to. I tell people don't do that.
It's really hard to break them though. I've tried to do it on purpose, and I can't do it. But I'm not very strong either. So
again, it's us wanting to make a dent and try to help the industry out. Like there's nobody. Actually, Freedom Breeder, you can buy a metal panel that you clip onto the heat panel, and it traps the probe on there for you. So really, Freedom Breeder is the only one that sells something with their thermostat as a solution. None of the other guys are doing it. Well, if you buy the cheap ones, you get like a suction cup that you can stick it on the side of the tank.
And people asked us about doing like Inkbird and some of those. There's like, we're not going to probably do probe plant for those, just because that's not the standards that we want to support.
Yeah, and we explain again. That's a teaching point of the show, like why we don't use certain brands of things, because heat is a killer for these animals. They can usually cool down. Cooling down is not a big of a deal, but heat will nuke them.
You cook them. Done.
That's why we favor good thermostats, that when they fail off.
Say it, Alisha. Say it, Alisha. Give me one fuck. One fuck.
Fuck you, Jared.
Also, and that's going to be our clip.
Fuck you.
That'll be it.
Did you like a little boop over my mouth?
How about you guys throw your socials, your deets out? Like, how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah.
We're on Instagram, Facebook, Herpin Harbins. We actually also got herpinharbins.com. If you want to email us, it's info@herpinharbins.com.
Before Shauna kicks you out, I just want to say you guys did an amazing job. I think the only problem is that you guys are so informative that we could probably have had you on for an hour and not said nothing and sat in these chairs. So
let's do it. Let's have chapters 1 and 2 and 3.
We may have to have you back.
Let's do it like Star Wars.
For an awesome show.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much, guys. It's great hanging out.
Thank you guys.
If you guys want to stick around if you guys want to stick around in the background, we'll get back there shortly. We're just going to do a little bit longer and see if people still want to kick around.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks again for coming on.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Snakes in the Batman proudly brings to you its new breeder segment, 15 Minutes of Life!
They are way too nice to be in this hobby.
They are
Oh,
so
they're awesome, man. I love them. Was I wrong with how much I love them?
Yeah.
Hey, they lived up to your hype.
Yeah. but like I can see why it would take them 2 hours to sell an animal because they would give that much information in 2 hours.
They're
Yeah.
so smart, man. Alisha. So what a lot of people don't know is that they met in vet school. So Josh was going to be a veterinarian too, follow in his father's footsteps, and somewhere in that he decided that maybe that's not what he wants to do, and he went to engineering. So, but they're super smart people, man, and they're awesome. So nice.
Very cool.
So nice.
So like you basically
I don't know
said
why
you're
they're your
voting
friends.
for-
Yeah.
Do what?
I said I don't know why they're your friends then.
I wouldn't say they're my friends. Like I'm their friends. Might not like me. I'm like that dude that just hangs around. That's my friend.
Just
Won't go
doing your
away.
favorite.
Yeah.
Come on over. Very cool.
That was a good show. I thought so. I thought they did awesome.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Well, hold off. You can't kill our show yet.
No,
We still got more stuff to do because Shauna's got to do our lamest fact
Oh,
for
snap.
today.
That is so gay.
That's
so awful.
That is the point. Did you know there's been attempts to cheat every year to win the contest since its inception?
Tips my ass. Fucking Paul did it. He
like
cheated.
getting other people to do your reels.
100% Paul cheated.
Is that really cheating? No.
I don't know. I'm going to say it's like a gray area. It's a gray area to have somebody else do all the work for you.
I'm just saying, nobody in the history has ever slipped except for Paul.
He didn't come over and didn't shoot that shit that I had to fucking do.
It was the stiffest year competition ever, and he swept it.
No, don't be upset about it.
With three snakes, snakes in his rack.
You weren't beating Troy anyway, buddy.
He got the popular vote.
Fuck you.
Popular vote. All the judges and the bonus judge. I'm gonna say cheater.
All right, so
give him a thumbs down if you think he cheated.
Whatever you want.
Do it, Gerald. Do it, Gerald.
I'm not doing it.
Chris,
doing it.
Yes.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm gonna.
Now,
you know what?
Now I'm not voting.
It could be cheating or it could be smart.
My daughter's sitting back here giving a thumbs down. She thinks you cheated too. You cunt.
Oh no, he was 100% smart. He knew where his flaws were, where he wouldn't be able to do well, and he had someone that said, "Hey, I'm going to help you where you can't help yourself." That's not cheating. That's being smart. So the fact that he was smarter than all of us, what do you want me to tell him?
He
Especially now he got to do it for free.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
Well, that's different. But like it is.
Thank you, Josh.
I just want everybody to know. I don't want anybody to take offense to this, but I might vote for the Herpin Harbins.
I know you're going to.
They might get my vote. No offense, Chris. Don't fucking.
Hey, I'm probably voting for him too, man. So
don't close this all out. Don't jump ship. Don't tell me I'm a piece of shit. I'm putting it all out there. I'm saying it now.
I'm gonna kick you from the group chat.
Well, that's the good thing is that you can vote for multiple people, bud.
Yeah.
Yes. You can vote every day.
Quit calling me bud.
Wait, multiple times off of multiple devices. Your iPhone, your iPad, your computer. You can vote.
Everything.
And if you
use a VPN, you can vote again.
Who
would have known?
Wi-Fi.
I don't have a
turn your Wi-Fi off, and you can vote again.
I didn't know that.
You can because it's a different IP.
Yep.
I do want to know who the fat man said. He said somebody cheated every year. I would, out of all curiosity, love to know who he think cheated last year.
We know.
Oh, we know.
Oh God.
We know.
You can just say it. Just say the words.
Shirt.
It's gay.
with Herbert on it.
Just graying and slaying. Sexy ass, fat ass Canadians.
All right, I had enough abuse. Let's go.
Okay. So before we close this out, so everybody stick around. Come back at 8:00. We have the Triple X.
I thought it was 9.
9.
9. It's 9.
9.
9.
It's 8:00 now. 9.
Yes.
9.
Did I say 8?
Yeah,
Did I
you
say
said
8?
8.
It's 9.
I apologize. That's my stupidity.
9.
9.
That's my stupidity. Reading Fat Man's post from earlier today, and then I said to him, I guess we're gonna have an overlap.
Yeah,
But
let's go.
listen, the fact that you have a woman bladder, I don't want to hear about it.
Look at him. Look at his legs are dancing. Like,
Let's
so
go.
bad. I gotta pee so bad.
I hope you piss
Getting red.
yourself. I really hope you piss yourself.
You want to stay another 10 minutes?
Like, I'm gonna sit here just to make it last.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
No. Oh, God.
No balls.
No, but Fat Man's having his Triple X Hot Chick episode at 9:00. So everybody, tune in. It could be
It's going to be fun.
a fun one.
Peacock?
Yeah.
Andy.
Yeah. I'm not 100% certain. I know next time I'll bring it up, but it's definitely going to be a hot one for sure. But if you guys have a chance, come back 9:00. Triple X Hot Chick episode.
Nip slips and nubs.
Yeah. That's what it should have been.